It's okay if you pack up from foreign and go back to your yard. It's okay. It's okay if you've migrated and you decide that this is not working out. I am going back to Jamaica. Nothing is wrong with that. And we need to normalize people doing that instead of staying in a foreign country and suffer. It makes no sense for us to stay in a foreign country if we're not doing well. And doing well doesn't necessarily mean that you have a house, you have a car, you have a good job. Doing well also means that you're not coping mentally.
Listen, we need to have this conversation today because for too long, Jamaicans feel like going back home is some kind of failure. Like if you pack up and leave foreign, you couldn't make it. But after watching these stories, people leaving Canada, the US, even retiring early to return to Jamaica, I'm realizing something. Maybe coming home is not failure. Maybe it's freedom. And today we are breaking this all the way down. The mental health, the money, the accent struggle, the assimilation pressure, and why so many Jamaicans are saying, yeah, the better. Let's get into it.
You're just not happy. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you're around. You're not happy. Now, the other day, somebody told me that, somebody that we both know, that person decided to go back home. And I said, good for her. Good for her. Because if you're really not happy here, if you're not getting the kind of job that you want, you come to Canada and you just realize that it doesn't matter what you try, it doesn't matter what kind of qualifications you have. You've gotten certified here in Canada, you have your qualification from back home in Jamaica. Listen, sometimes we have master's degrees and we can't get a good job over here. If you realize that you're not getting back to the status after 4 years, 5 years, the kind of lifestyle that you used to live in Jamaica, you're not able to do that in Canada or the United States, go back home. A lot of us come here and we leave house, we leave car, we left good jobs. Our kids were in private schools, the best of the best in Jamaica. And we come here and we're just not getting that standard of living. Even though you might have a job, you might, be able to buy a house, but that standard of living that you had in Jamaica, that good job that made you feel like, oh, you're actually meeting your targets and meeting your goals in terms of, your career. You have to start all over from scratch. And sometimes even after 4 or 5 years, you're still not there. Let's normalize saying, you know what? There's no shame in it. I'm going to pack up and I'm going to go back to my home country because this is not working out. It's okay. There's no shame in it. Pack up and just go back home. Nothing wrong with it. So pack up and come back home.
I've packed my bags. I've sold my house. And I'm on my way home to sweet, sweet Jamaica. The brain dump is over. We're bringing it all back home. There's no way we can see Melissa take such advantage of our country and don't go back and fix her up. We are never, ever going to abandon our parents. Not a country like Jamaica that gave us so much or that gives us so much. Pride, joy, resilience, strength, happiness, best food, everything. Guess what? Yeah, man. If you can go back, go back. However you can do. Whatever help you can give. Because Jamaica instilled in us everything that everybody want. And it have a born in you. Like a true Jamaican. Yeah? So Jamaica, my sweet, sweet Jamaica. Here I come. 45 years long enough. I'm coming back home.
Why you move back to Jamaica, not there Jamaica? Please stop it. When you see people decide that they want to return home, you don't know what their life was like when they decided to move to big foreign. Some of them realized that they were sold a dream and this is not the right path for them. Realizing that something doesn't work for you and taking action and making a real decision to dial back and then do what I need to do to make my life work for me. That is big, that is bold. We need to applaud people when they realize and find out that something doesn't work for them and they're going to make a change rather than sit there in silence and because of what people are going to say, they decide not to live their lives the best way that they see fit. If you decide to go back home, I cannot see what is wrong with that. That is your home. Where should you go? When you move to these countries, they make it very clear that this is not your home. So there's no point in time, no matter how you feel comfortable, that you will ever truly feel like this is your home. I just don't get it. It really annoys me. I just saw a video like that and you people need to stop it. Applaud people, cheer people on when they decide to do things that is best for their lives, or just shut up.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I left the U.S. About 3 years ago and moved to Jamaica, and I have zero regrets. One reason I left was because I'm moving into my retirement years, and I simply could not afford to be in the U.S. with the amount of money that I would receive during retirement. Another reason was the stress for me. I've been working hard for a long time, and to be honest with you, I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm an empty nester, and I want to live out the rest of my life not having to deal with the stress of owning a business or anything like that, or managing people. So I'm glad I did. I have no regrets.
So I'm Jamaican. I moved to the States when I was 7 with my family. I'm the youngest of 3. And when I moved here, I had a very strong accent. I spoke real, raw, country patois. We grew up in St. Mary, Jamaica. If you know, you know. It's very country. And yeah, I just had a very thick accent. I never thought anything of it, of course, but when we came here, we spoke English, but with this very thick, strong patois accent. And people were just so impatient. They would just say they didn't understand us. There were certain words especially that we would use that people were so like, they just refuse to, I think, even take the time to try and understand us. So something like, I remember like water. Water is this big stumbling block. Me and my sister always talk about this because, here you say water, and in Jamaica it's water, W-A-T-A, or something like battery. In America, in an American accent, you say batteries, but we condense it to battery in Jamaica, in patois. And there were lots of words like that, that we would use and kind of say differently. And people were so impatient. Like, they just were not particularly accepting or interested or anything. We just quickly knew that it was absolutely necessary for us to assimilate and to learn how to speak with an American accent. And so we did. And it didn't take long. I mean, my parents spoke in patois to us at home, but we were in school every day. Like, we just had to do what was necessary. So by the next summer, when we went back to Jamaica to spend time with my grandparents and my family, everybody had something to say about the fact that we were not speaking patois anymore. And they said, look how you turn Yankee, look how you don't have a Jamaican accent anymore. And it was almost like a source of shame for me, and I think my siblings as well, because obviously we still felt connected to our culture. I grew up in a very Jamaican household. My father never even really wanted to move to the States. It was just because there were just better opportunities available to us. But you feel Jamaican, you're so happy to go back to Jamaica and see your family and your friends and everything, and everybody's like, oh, you're an American now. And it was just hard, and I felt like I kind of lost the patois, for a bit. It just wasn't as accessible to me because we were just trying to assimilate, trying to speak in a way where people would understand us and not just be impatient with us. And I didn't know any other kids really. We had a few. We had one family friend family, which it was two other girls who had just moved here, and they had accents, and they never lost their accents as much as we did. And it was like, oh my God, how come Ray and Nia still have their accents and we don't have our accents? But it's like, how are we going to speak in patois in our schools? Like everybody was just like so like unkind about it. So yeah, we kind of lost it. But as I've gotten older, I've really wanted to speak in a way that felt more authentic to me. And over time, I realized that like patois is still available to me, you know? Even if I'm not talking raw, chop patois, it's like if you hear me talk right now, you hear that, I have a bit of an accent. And lately, over the last, I'd say like maybe 3 years or so, I've really been thinking like, how can I speak more authentically? And I feel like when I'm talking, I have these two different routes I can take at all time. Like I could say water, or I could say water, or I could, anytime enunciating my T's or even the tone that I use and stuff. It's not something that I have to actually think about, but depending on who I'm talking to or depending on what I'm talking about, patois is available to me, or a more American accent is available to me. And I remember growing up, people say, oh, talk patois. It's like, I can't just talk patois to you. Like I need to be talking about something that makes it come out naturally. Like if I'm talking again to another Jamaican, or if I'm very upset, or if I'm talking about Jamaica, my accent will come out inevitably. But lately I've kind of been realizing that it's all kind of becoming one thing, and I want to just speak one way and never think about it, and just do what feels authentic to me. And lately, yeah, it has felt more Jamaican. I got upset about something on Saturday night. I was talking to my friends, and I had a Jamaican, one of my friends in the car was Jamaican, and so it felt okay, or it felt natural or normal for me to kind of speak more patois, I think, because she was there. I wasn't even thinking about it, but it was just coming out like that. And my American friends were like, oh my God, like I love when you talk like this. And I was just like, yeah, like I need to just do this more. I need to just free up the accent, just let the accent free, and just do what's authentic. But it's interesting, like growing up where you felt like you had to assimilate, you had to just for survival, just to be accepted, just to be understood by your peers and your family and everybody. Like it just it was just what was necessary at the time. And now that I'm older, I think I realize like, yeah, I don't have to be that little 7-year-old girl anymore. Like I can just be myself, and I can just speak how I want to. And I've never really seen this conversation happen online, but I'm curious to know if there are other other people who moved here as kids and who have had this experience, and who not just from the Caribbean, but just from other places in the world, or maybe grew up speaking English but with an accent, and having to kind of navigate being in this new world, speaking in this new way, but always wanting to preserve who you are and kind of coming back to it at some point. So I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it. Yeah, you could please let me know. I know you can understand me, because I know I'm not speaking super raw patois, and I don't even think there's a level of patois that's not available to me anymore anyway. But I feel so happy to have the accent, and like to be able to show that I'm Jamaican in just my day-to-day interactions. I don't think I realized as a kid that so many years later, like I would be able to later is another one, later, or anything with an ER. Anyway, ER versus A ending, like another big thing. But yeah, I'm just curious to know if there are other people who have had this experience.
So one of my dreams is to move back to Jamaica at a young age, but we can still enjoy life. Not to move back at the typical 60-65 year retirement age. So I follow this couple TikToker, right? And they were living in Canada and they moved to Jamaica.
they move back to Jamaica, young couple, you know, and that is one of my dreams. And persons are gonna come under their account and say that they are lazy. America is not what it cracks up to be. Trust me. America will have your mental health in a hole. Most of us here are suffering from anxiety and depression who are living here in the States. Only difference with America and Jamaica is that there's more job opportunities here. If you want to work a 24-hour shift, you can work a 24-hour shift. You can just work straight so if you want. That's the only difference. But if you don't know what you're doing, you will be living paycheck to paycheck, and that works on your mental health because you're always thinking like, how am I going to pay this bill? Oh my God, another bill is coming. And it's just a bit much. It's like over here not really make for one person live. Especially right now, yes, we are in a recession. Especially right now, if you not have a partner or if you not have some family member live with, trust me, I forgot double up on the job. Double or triple up. You understand? Enough people over here do doubles, 16-hour days, and it works on your mental health. You don't have any time to spend with family, you don't have no social life. So coming from a culture where it's more lax and I wouldn't say stress free because stress dead here, but it's more lax, and you come here, it'll go work for your mental health. And moving from anywhere you're from and to a new place, it takes adjustment. Like, no one better than yard. And when I say yard, it's wherever you are originally from. So that is my dream, to move back to Jamaica at a young age. I'm happy for the opportunity that was given, and I'm not being ungrateful, but that is my dream and that is my desire.
I finally did it, y'all. I moved to Jamaica. And I don't got time for the people to be on my comments talking about oh, why would you want to live out here? It's worse out here than America.
Yeah, so why move back to Jamaica in poverty? Why not move to Colorado? Well, think of it this way. I am not in poverty. And when I was in Jamaica, I wasn't poverty stricken like majority of the country. I was living as an average person. So coming back to live as an average person, knowing that you can find something to do to make money to maintain you, that is something that I can better off cope with, other than to move to another first world country at a location where, if you take notice, it's credit that run first world. So it's like the same thing what happened already would come back around and happen again. So this is my way, not saying I'm choosing the easy way out, but I chose the best way out.
I am enjoying all the videos of people who either lived in Canada or in the US move back to Jamaica. A couple of my mutuals have done it. Either they go back and rent, or they're back with family, or they bring back their kids and their kids are going back into society and going to school, and they're watching them. It's very refreshing to see, because I know there are a lot of people, not me, there are a lot of people who aspire to go back to Jamaica and live, and they just don't have the motivation. They're not able to see it. So people being able to display it and being very authentic about it is very nice to see. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying watching the moms pack their kids lunch and make them breakfast, carry them to school, going to the supermarket, see how, I don't know if about anybody else. Like, I enjoy seeing it. And I know it's probably going to motivate other individual, which is not a bad thing, to go back, because again, people want to leave but just don't have the motivation to do so. So it's very nice to see. I know for a fact I'll never be able to give my daughter the same type of upbringing that I had growing up in Stony Hill and Bona housing scheme. It was just different. So being able to see that people are doing this for their kids now, given, that's what I say. Like, I enjoy seeing those videos and I want to see them more.
So I moved back to Jamaica over a year ago, and while it is the best decision that I ever made, there are a few things that I wish I had done differently. Let me preface this by saying that when I left Jamaica, I was still in high school, so I was still a teenager, and I moved back as an adult in my late 20s. So here are a few things that I think would have made my transition a lot easier. I wish I had come down like a couple months before and sorted out a bunch of my documents. I wish I had come and got my TRN, my driver's license, and gotten, my bank account open, because I just think it's so much easier to do it, on like maybe like a short trip, a vacation, and while still employed elsewhere, even if it is outside of the country. 2, I wish I had researched the job market a little bit more to fully understand what opportunities were out here, what the pay rate was, as well as the cost of living in Jamaica, so that I could have a better understanding of what a good salary would be. And 3rd and final, I wish I had saved more. Jamaica is expensive. And thankfully, I came home and I'm living with family. But even just groceries, gas, it is so expensive. So no matter how much you think you have to come back that you would be comfortable, save a little extra.
Number 1, normalize going back home. The first speaker said something very important. If you are not happy, go back home. There is no shame. That right there challenges the entire Caribbean migration culture. For decades, the goal was leave Jamaica, go to America, Canada, and England, send barrel, build house back home, retire at 65. But now people are saying, wait, why am I suffering for 30 years just to say I live foreign? That shift is huge. Number 2, mental health over status. One thing that stood out: you can have a house, a car, and a good job and still not be okay mentally. That's something many immigrants don't talk about, especially in places like the United States, where hustle culture is normalized. People are working doubles, living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in bills, struggling silently. And because you live foreign, nobody believes you are struggling. That pressure is heavy. Number 3, retirement reality. Why some are leaving the US? The woman who left the US during retirement years said she simply couldn't afford to live there anymore. And that's real. Cost of living in the US and Canada has skyrocketed. Meanwhile, Jamaica, despite its own challenges, can sometimes offer community support, slower pace, family network, lower living cost depending on lifestyle. And for retirees especially, that difference matters. Number 4, the accent and identity struggle. This part is deep. A Jamaican child moves to the US at 7 years old, thick patois accent, people impatient, teachers not understanding, kids mocking. So what happens? They assimilate, then they go back to Jamaica. And now they are Yankee. That in-between identity is real for many diaspora kids. It's something people from other immigrants community experience too. But in the Caribbean context, it hits different. You are too Jamaican for America, too American for Jamaica. And as adults, they are now trying to reclaim their voice. That's powerful. Number 5, America will have your mental health in a whole. That statement is bold, but it reflects a real feeling some immigrants have. It's not necessarily about the country being bad. It's about individual experience, economic pressure, cultural adjustment, lack of community. Some thrive in the US, some struggle deeply, Both realities can exist at the same time. Number 6, young people dreaming of returning early. This is a shift in mindset. Older generation work foreign, retire in Jamaica. Younger generation now saying, why wait until 65? Why not build life in Jamaica now? Especially with remote work, online business, digital income. It changes the possibility. And lastly, which is number 7, the real talk about moving back. One woman gave solid advice. Before moving back to Jamaica, sort out documents, TRN, license, and bank. Research job market. Understand salary expectations. Save more than you think you need. That's the balanced perspective. Because moving back emotionally is one thing, moving back practically is another. This entire conversation is not about Jamaica better than America. It's about where do you thrive. Some people build generational wealth abroad. Some people find peace back home. Some people do both. But what should stop is shaming people for choosing what works for them. If someone decides to pack up and go back to Jamaica, that is not weakness. That is courage. Courage to admit, this isn't working for me. Courage to choose happiness over appearance, peace over pride, belonging over bragging rights. And honestly, that's strength. Let me know in the comments. Would you ever move back to Jamaica permanently? Or are you building your forever life overseas? Let's talk about it.